An extract from A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. The end of it. Yes, and the bedpost was his own, and the bed was his own, and the room was his own, and best and happiest of all, the time before him was his own to make amends in. He was so fluttered and so glowing with his good intentions that his broken voice could scarcely answer to his call. He had been sobbing violently in his conflict with the spirit, and his face was wet with tears. "They are not torn down," cried Scrooge, folding up his bed curtains in his arms. "They are not torn down, rings and all. Here they are, and I am here. The shadows of the things that would have been may be dispelled. They will be. I know they will." He had frisked into the sitting room and was now standing there, perfectly winded. "There's the saucepan that the gruel was in," cried Scrooge, starting off again and going round the fireplace. "There's the door by which the ghost of Jacob Marley entered. There's the corner where the ghost of Christmas present sat. There's the window where I saw the wandering spirits. It's all right. It's all true. It all happened." Really, for a man who had been out of practice for so many years, it was a splendid laugh, a most illustrious laugh. The father of a long, long line of brilliant laughs. "I don't know what day of the month it is," said Scrooge. "I don't know how long I have been amongst the spirits. I don't know anything. I'm quite the baby. Never mind. I don't care. I'd rather be a baby. Hello! Hello there!" He was checked in his transports by the churches ringing out the lustiest peals he had ever heard. Running to the window, he opened it and put out his head. "What's today?" cried Scrooge, calling downward to a boy in Sunday clothes. "Eh?" returned the boy with all his might of wonder. "What's today, my fine fellow?" said Scrooge. "Today?" replied the boy. "It's Christmas Day." "It's Christmas Day," said Scrooge to himself. "I haven't missed it. The spirits have done it all in one night. Hello, my fine fellow." "Hello," returned the boy. "Do you know the poulterers in the next street but one at the corner?" Scrooge inquired. "I should hope I do," said the lad. "An intelligent boy," said Scrooge. "A remarkable boy. Do you know whether they've sold the prize turkey that was hanging up there?" "It's hanging there now," said the boy. "Is it?" said Scrooge. "Go and buy it." What? exclaimed the boy. No, said Scrooge. "I am in earnest. Go and buy it and tell them to bring it here, that I may give them directions where to take it. Come back with the man and I'll give you a shilling." The boy was off like a shot. "I'll send it to Bob Cratchit's," whispered Scrooge, rubbing his hands and splitting with laughter. "He shan't know who sends it. It'll be twice the size of Tiny Tim." The hand in which he wrote the address was not a steady one, but write it he did somehow, and went downstairs to open the street door, ready for the coming of the poulterer's man. The chuckle with which he paid for the turkey and the chuckle with which he recompensed the boy were only exceeded by the chuckle with which he sat down breathless in his chair again and chuckled till he cried. He dressed himself all in his best and got out into the streets. The people were by now pouring forth as he had seen them with the ghost of Christmas present, and walking with his hands behind him, Scrooge regarded every one with a delighted smile. He went to the church and walked about the streets and watched the people hurrying to and fro, and patted the children on the head, and looked down into the kitchens of houses and up to the windows, and found everything could yield him pleasure. He had never dreamed that any walk, that anything could give him so much happiness. In the afternoon, he turned his steps towards his nephew's house. He passed the door a dozen times before he had the courage to go up and knock, but he made a dash of it and did it. "Is your master at home, my dear?" said Scrooge to the girl. Nice girl, very. "Yes, sir." "Where is he?" said Scrooge. "He's in the dining room, sir, along with the mistress. I'll show you upstairs, if you please." "Thank ye." He knows me, said Scrooge, and with his hand already on the dining-room lock. I'll go in here, my dear. He turned it gently and sidled his face in round the door. They were looking at the table, which was spread out in great array, for these young housekeepers are always nervous on such points and like to see everything is right. Fred, said Scrooge. Well, bless my soul, cried Fred. Who's that? It is I, your Uncle Scrooge. I have come to dinner, if you will let me in, Fred. Let him in! It was a mercy he didn't shake his arm off. He was at home in 5 minutes. Nothing could have been heartier. But he was early at the office the next morning. He was early there. If he could only be there first and catch Bob Cratchit coming in late, that was the thing he had set his heart upon. And he did it. Yes, he did. The clock struck 9. No Bob. 1:15? No Bob. He was full 18 minutes and a half behind his time. Scrooge sat with his door wide open that he might see him coming into the tank. His hat off before he opened the door, his comforter too, he was on his stool in a jiffy, driving away at his pen as if he were trying to overtake 9 o'clock. Hello, growled Scrooge in his accustomed voice, as near as he could feign it. What do you mean by coming in here at this time of day? I'm very sorry, sir, said Bob. I am behind my time. You are, repeated Scrooge. Yes, I think you are. Step this way, sir, if you please. It's only once a year, sir, pleaded Bob, appearing from the tank. It shall not be repeated. I was making rather merry yesterday, sir. Now, I'll tell you what, my friend, said Scrooge. I am not going to stand this sort of thing any longer, and therefore I am about to raise your salary. A Merry Christmas, Bob, said Scrooge with an earnestness that could not be mistaken, and he clapped him on the back. A merrier Christmas, Bob, my good fellow, than I have given you for many a year. I'll raise your salary and endeavour to assist your struggling family, and we will discuss your affairs this very afternoon. Make up the fires, and buy another coal scuttle before you dot another I, Bob Cratchit. Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all, and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. He became as good a friend, as good a master, as good a man as the good old city knew, or any other city, town or borough in the good old world. He had no further intercourse with the spirits ever afterwards, and it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well if any man alive possessed the knowledge. May that be truly said of us and all of us, and so as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone. Merry Christmas, Headley and Box Hill.